자, 일요일날 아침 6시가 돼갑니다. Crazy Reading입니다. A race like no other, 26.2 miles through the street of New York. Stevie Bryan, 54, of Ontario, Canada, arrives early at the start village and relaxes before his 11th New York City marathons. Up your score. The Underground Guide to the SAT, the strategy guide with kids who aced the SAT and the top-notch college of the strategy guide with attitudes by 5 kids who aced the SAT and went on to the top-notch colleges of their choice. The graphing calculator way. If you have a graphing calculator, then just get both equations as y in terms of x and then plug them into your calculator. See where the two lines intersect, and that's your answer. Independent writing. Read each one and with your teacher. Determine what changes have been made. The individual who lacks a passion, recognition, or the fulfillment of other emotional needs may turn to food. Our iceberg is melting, changing, and succeeding under any condition. Lewis redirected the dialogue. I think it would help if we all closed our eyes for a moment. Before the professor could question the relevance of eye closing, the head penguin said, "Please don't ask why. Tolerate an old bird suggestion. This will only require a minute." The others, one after the other, closed their eyes. 214 speaking topics. In my room, I can freely get up, leave my belongings where they are, and even bring back a glass of lemonade and some chips, because standing in my room offers me two great advantages. I would say that my bedroom is my favorite place to study. Managing your mouth. An owner's manual for your most important business asset. If the applicant knows what tactic is being employed, then she can withstand the bombardment and get the job. You are stronger than you think, tapping into the secret of emotionally resilient people. But his lungs had been severely damaged, and he still hadn't figured out how he'd get himself back together financially. How to have a brilliant life. Put a little bit more in, get so much more out. New friends. The question you needed to ask yourself about your current job is simply, is this really what I want to do? If the answer is no, then stage 1 is not to beat yourself up over it, as the chances are that when you took the job, there was a very good reason for it. It's just the things change. Good product, bad product. essential elements to achieving superior quality. However, even they realize that this software is commonly used throughout many professions and that many users find the increased capability highly valuable. Never eat alone, and are the secret to success. One relationship at a time. How to build a lifelong community of colleagues, contacts, friends, and mentors. The next thing I know is 1 or 2 in the morning and I'm closing down another successful event. Why we want you to be the rich? I knew someone who had a little major and he would read not only all the required books plus some, but then he'd go get the clip notes and study those. Pass your driving test. So the glance in the mirror to check whether any vehicle is about to overtake you. There is another car some distance behind. Auto repair for dummies. Learn 2. Perform routine repairs and maintenance. The pros and cons of alternative fuels and vehicles. Reproducible specification and maintenance records. Helpful illustration that demonstrate the repairs. Get to know your vehicle. Understand automotive systems. Check under the hood. Change your tire. Follow basic safety rules. Change spark plugs, fuse, and the battery, and replace the air filter and the PCV valve. Chaotics, the beginnings of managing and marketing in the age of turbulence. Apportion your resource wisely. Eliminate meetings that don't add value. Shorten the meetings. Organize sales or other company meetings with a clearly defined profit purpose. Create specific performance requirements. However, consider adding some high impact meetings with customers or dealers when the rest of the business world is cutting back. A third place, come round right. The concept, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, which I grew up with, is gone. On the news, in the classroom, and even in seemingly innocent conversation, more often than not, people complain. Speak like a CEO. Speak like a CEO is practical, helpful, insightful, and comforting. Secrets for commanding attention and getting results. Moore appeared on Project Greenlight as the intense, volatile producer trying to keep people in line. I was the guy who screamed, yelled, and got angry, he said. Moore never saw clips during production. It was only when the show aired on the Bravo channel that he saw how ineffective his style was. I was sitting there seeing how people would just write me up, he said. I thought I was saying important stuff, but they never did what I suggested. Later, I called them up and asked, was it a bad idea? Most of them said they didn't even remember what I had said. They only remembered that I was ripping their head off. Always day one, how the tech titans plan to stay on top forever. Chapter 5, Satya and the Microsoft the case study. When Microsoft acquired the advertising firm of Quantitative for $6.3 billion in 2007, the mood inside the just purchased company wasn't exactly festive. I'm not working for fucking Microsoft, one employee said upon hearing the news. A day later, he quit. How to make anyone fall in love with you. Every single person I know asks, how can I meet her or him? At last I have the answer. Read this book. Proven ways to make anyone fall or stay in love. You can capture and keep the heart of any man or woman you choose because after centuries of mystery, science is finally unraveling what romantic love actually is, what it triggers it, what kills it, and what makes it last. Say, would you give me a hand with this? It's a subtle difference of one letter, but would assume that of course he is capable and it offered him the opportunity to be gallant. Tiny habits, the small changes that changes everything. To find the trailing edge, we look at the anchor on the microscope to see what the end of an action looks like. This is particularly important for anchors that are rather fuzzy. Here are some examples of how to be more specific and boost the likelihood of your success by using the trailing edge in your recipe. Day trading for dummies. Solid advice on quick action trading. Know the markets, gain confidence, and buy and sell like the pros. Want to succeed as a day trader? This plain English guide shows you how day trading works, identifies the all too numerous pitfalls, and gives you a step-by-step action plan to get started. From classic and the renegade strategies to the nitty-gritty daily practice, you'll see how to keep a cool head and manage risk while you buy and sell your position. Make better portfolio decisions, profit from price drops, leverage limited capital, comply with regulatory issues, plan and research trade, set up your accounts and your office. I am what I am because of my grandmother, my strengths, my sense of reasoning, everything, all that was said by the time I was 6. Luck is a matter of preparation, meeting opportunity. I always feel if you do right, right will follow. You know the old cliche, a good man is hard to find. Well, it's true. And the smarter you get, the harder they are to find. The habit, the secret art of feeling and growing rich. The difficult essay questions were all from past I'd read over just before the test. The wisdom and the teachings of Kobe. Most negotiators are trying to get their way. Through rounds of haggling, they usually arrive at a compromise in which both sides concede something to get an agreement. By contrast, a third alternative requires no concession at all because it's truly a better deal for everyone. You get it not by haggling, but by asking, would you be willing to go for the third alternative that is better than what either of us has in mind? The legacy of Steve Jobs, 1955 to 2011. They would be his way of drawing a new line in the sand and daring Microsoft or Compaq or AOL or Sun or any other competitor to cross it. Humans are the body, a manual for the life. Calcitonin is formed by the cells in the space between the follicles, paracyeloid gland. These four darker glands lie at the back of the thyroid and produce parathyroid hormone. This monitors the level of calcium in the blood by balancing the effect of phthalocalcitonin. Science and the Explorer. Analyze and conclude. Calculating. In part 1, how many white mice were there in each generation? How many brown mice? In each generation, which color mouse had the higher death rate? Hint: to calculate the death rate for white mice, divide the number of white mice that died by the total number of white mice, then multiply by 100%. Body-mind. Current theory, first-hand experience, and ancient belief, exciting reading. Yet in some instances, people never fully resolve their fears, and their shoulders remain in an arched and rigid position long after the immediate fear has passed. When this happens, we say that the person has internalized the fear and that the experience of fright has been locked into the structure of the total body-mind and become a kind of frozen history. At this point, the natural growth of the body-mind becomes slightly distorted and begins to shape itself around the frightened posture and its corresponding tension. Eventually, the frozen history becomes fully integrated into the character and the body structure of the individual. Korean cuisine, healthy food full of the flavor. Fish with chrysanthemum leaves and ginger on the broth. This is a very fine and delicate dish. The fragrance of the chrysanthemum leaves adds a great deal to it. However, if these are not available, you can substitute with the green pot of scallions. Choose a wide pan to cook the fish in a single layer. The brain that changes itself. Stories of personal triumph from the frontiers of brain science. Then he had the last dream of his analysis. I saw my mother playing the piano, and then I go to get someone, and when I return, she's in a coffin. The unexpected legacy of the boss. The 25-year landmark study. Actually, many divorced parents know this, but are too pressured to put their knowledge to work also, as they soon find out the rules established in one home can be undone in the other. Routines and bedtimes vary in each parent's home. In some parents' home, the preschool child sleeps with the parent regularly, whereas in others the child has their own room. So-called junk food and unlimited television are permitted in one home and forbidden in the other. Nudity is the mode in one household and frowned on in the other. In one family, the 5-year-old child returned from a visit to a father's home full of excitement about the tattoos on his new girlfriend's the upper side. These seemingly small differences can become major issues that are never settled and contribute to the difficulty of stabilizing the life of the preschool child in the divorced family. The POW Exchange short subcommittee meeting is held. The UN forces proposed a draft of 14 conditions about POW's exchange, which are to be included in the armistice agreement. Experiments in life. One man's transformation from privileged to pathetic, penitent to professor. Here I was faced with a man who would have gone out of his way to help me in any way, and I couldn't reconcile the negative stereotypes with this person with whom I quickly became friends. There's a concept in psychology called the contact hypothesis, which posits that getting to know individuals with stereotypes and outgroups, promote understanding, erode hatred, and facilitate improved relationship between members of otherwise opposing groups. Revolutionize teamwork, how to create and lead accountable teams. What do you guys think? Question or I'm worried about getting to the airport on time statement. How long does it take to get to the airport? Question. You'll discover that you have people around you who only ask a question and in doing so bring very little value to the table. Teach them to have a voice. When someone asks a question, politely interrupt them and ask them to make a statement first. You will cut your meeting times in half. A technique for producing ideas. And so he continued with enthusiasm. We have decided that is just what we are going to do from here on. We are not going to sell space at all. Beginning tomorrow morning, every single one of us is going to sell ideas. I said I thought that was just dandy, but wondered what it was that he wanted to discuss with me. The age of addiction, how bad habits became big business. Then why persist in something that is bad for you? Because evolution favored humans who were motivated to engage in activities that enhanced fitness, like eating and sex. The idea hunter, how to find the best ideas and make them happen. Most managers were in a position to discuss their ideas across business unit if they so chose, but found that the people with whom they discussed their ideas were overwhelmingly colleagues already close in their informal discussion network. This spelled trouble because their usual conversation partners tended to look at problems the same way they did and didn't broach alternatives. As a result, their ideas for improvement in supply chain management were not developed. Sole survivor, living and working in South Korea. However, one will find that there are few bus drivers willing or able to speak English. Also note, they will never stop at an undesignated bus stop. No rules. Netflix and the culture of reinvention. We then collected and studied the maps from the 10 groups and aggregated them into a single Netflix complete culture map, which looked like this. The watchmen's at the rattle, sinking our way out of extinction. But the proof is in the pudding. Multiple streams of income. How to generate a lifetime of unlimited wealth. Wit and wisdom of waiter, someone who believes that money grows on trays. Does this sound too hard to you? You listen. Your sponsor talks. People order products. You get checks. With just a few hours a week on the phone, you can create a wonderful stream of residual income. Would you donate a few hours of your flexible time each week if you knew you could be earning $2,000 to $3,000 a week in residual income in 2 to 3 years? Strategies of the Serengeti. Regrettably, that was not the end of the story. The practicing mind, developing focus and discipline in your life. Once, when I was preparing a concert piano for an orchestra and a soloist, I found myself going through the experience of, I just don't feel like doing this. Rejection proof. How I beat the fear and became invincible through 100 days of rejection. Gia began to realize that even the most preposterous wish might be granted if you ask in the right way. Over the course of his 100 rejection attempts, he learned the secret to making successful requests, tactics to picking the right people to approach at the right time, and strategies for converting an initial no into something positive. Think your way to wealth. Napoleon on the Hill. What about the bookkeeper? Should he specialize too? Yes, unless he's contented to remain always a bookkeeper, and even then he will make more from his work. If he specializes in some particular branch of accounting, the better paid men in this field usually branch out from general bookkeeping to auditing and the installation of an accounting system. A clever man in this field finds it quite profitable, for every business beyond the one-man size need dependable record of its transaction. SAS Survival Handbook. chokeberries, a North American shrub growing up to 2.4 meters. Synchronicity, the inner path of leadership. Lessons, encountering the traps. Where you stumble, there your treasure lies. One day in 1987, I was with a class of Forum Fellows in Portland, Oregon, telling them about the journey I had taken in the creation of the Forum, the good times and the trials and the tribulation as well. Give and take, a revolutionary approach to success. I want to improve the world, and I want to smell good while doing it. The drop. How the most active sport can help us understand addiction and the recovery. The son of an African American soldier from Texas and a Hawaiian mother, Buttons was born on the north shore of Oahu but moved to Waikiki with his mother. When he was 5, his father had left by then. Buttons was raised by his mother. The next 100 years, a forecast for the 21st century. The second collapse of Russia will appear to open the door to a golden age for the United States, but a massive internal economic crisis caused by a shortage of labor will emerge just as the confrontation with Russia is ending. The element of style that leaves covered the ground. Switch, how to change things when change is hard. Explorers began talking about no dry holes. They started taking off their explorer hats and putting on their geologist hats. Thank you for being late, an optimist guide to thriving in the age of acceleration. She explained that she was sitting at her home in Beirut, taking a course from a company in Palo Alto in order to better serve her clients, most of whom she has never met in person in Australia and the United Kingdom. Speak to the winner. Speak to the win. How to present with power in any situation. Write it out word for word. Writing out key sentences word for word enable you to make sure your point is phrased in such a way that it will have its greatest possible effect on your audience. Look at the difference between saying something like, "You can do anything you want," and expressing the same thought by saying, "What you can do in the future is limited only by your own imagination." Breaking Night, a memoir of forgiveness, survival, and my journey from homeless to Harvard. The rain fell softly outside, collecting on the windowsill, reflecting in its puddle the neon lights of the motel sign. I was miles away from home. What does it mean to be well educated? And more essays on standards, grading, and other follies. And heaven knows that I'm certainly tired of all those little arguments and disagreements that we get into concerning marks, which take so much fun out of the teaching and the learning. the 6 best long-term stocks market investing strategies. The Sales Gurus lessons from the best sales book of all time. Use the number. Resist the temptation to use words when numbers can do the job so much better. The phrase 25% faster is more compelling than much faster. The 5 levels of leadership, proven steps to maximize your potential. Begin by categorizing everyone on the team: momentum makers, producers who make things happen; momentum takers, people who go along for the ride; momentum breakers, people who cause problems and hurt the morale. Put the majority of time and energy into the momentum makers and place them strategically in the organization so that they make the greatest impact, and enlist their aid to help lead the momentum takers as you motivate them. Meanwhile, have candid conversation with the momentum breakers. Give them a chance to change their attitudes and become productive members of the team. However, if they fail to rise up to the challenge, get them off of the team. If that is impossible, then isolate them from the rest of the team to minimize the damage they can do. Setting your heart on fire. 7 invitations to liberate your life. As you create the greater equality among your wide range of selves, parallel shifts often occur in your life. You make different kinds of friends, some who might share little in common with one another. You seek out a broader scope of activities, even if they don't seem to gel. A punk rocker who does at this point is truly a free spirit. So is a jock who loves poetry, a bungee jumping priest, or a meditating CEO. 와, 책이 무너졌다. 책이 무너졌어. 주저앉아 읽었더니